Hey, this is Matthew Ricks, and today on the Music Business Newsletter, we have a cautionary tale of what not to do when you are given the moment that you've been waiting for your entire life. But before we dive into that email, I ask you to go ahead and subscribe to this channel and like the video and leave me a comment if you agree or disagree. And if you have a question on the music industry that you'd like for me to answer, just go to MatthewRicks.com and click Submit Your Question. Give me as many details as possible. Now for today's email. He says, "Hey Matthew, my name's Bob. I'm the guitarist for a band based out of Orlando, Florida. Love Orlando, Florida. Great town. Great town. Mickey, Universal. And Orlando's had some pretty monumental bands over the years. There must be something in the water." He says, "I'm hoping you can help me make sense of something that's been eating at me." He says, "For the past few months, my band and I have been in serious talks with what seemed like a legit management firm out in Los Angeles." Now, let me pause right there. He does say in this email that he's included documents and everything. And the management company he's talking to is absolutely legit. Their rep, very well respected, very well known in the music industry. So he says they've been in serious talks with what seemed like a legit management firm out in Los Angeles. He continues, "They reached out to us first. We had multiple calls and everything felt real," because it was real, but we'll get into it. He says they even flew us out to LA twice, put us up in nice hotels. We had tons of meetings with the management firm, and we did a showcase for the employees and the big bosses at the management firm. So he said everything felt real. And then the management company is paying to fly them out to LA 3 times, put them up in hotels, had meetings, and they did a showcase. And he goes, "That felt real." No, that was real. He said it really seemed like things were moving forward. We even had contracts being reviewed by our lawyers. And you're still going, "I don't know if it was real. It seemed real." After the 3rd trip, they invited us out for dinner and drinks after one of the meetings. To be totally honest, me and our lead singer had a few too many cocktails that night. Anybody know where this is going? He says it was one of those situations that got out of hand. We ended up getting kicked out of a bar in Los Angeles for being disruptive to the patrons in the bar. Later on, went to another spot where apparently I said some things that offended the people in our group. Now, for context, let me tell you who was in our group. It was my band, our rep, our lawyer, their lawyer, the president of the firm, and a couple of other high-up directors within the firm. Sounds like a good time to act like a fool. He says the next day, myself and my band, we flew back home to Orlando. We had not heard anything since that night. A few days after that, we got an email from our rep at the management firm saying they were no longer moving forward with us and they wish us the best of luck. Just like that, out of the blue. No explanation, no phone call, just a cold, professional goodbye sent in an email that could have been a text. You guys probably went for the first 3 meetings. You impressed them. You didn't act like, you didn't belong there. And they basically did a test with you. They wanted to take you guys out and see if you were going to be a liability, given an opportunity to have unlimited cocktails, cordials. What you should have done is, I don't drink. I'm completely sober. I never did anything stupid like this. I just was not a great person drinking. So I haven't drank in years. What you should have done was had some restraint and had 1, maybe 2 cocktails the whole night, and then switched over to water or Red Bull. Or just don't drink at all because it's poison at the end of the day. As for them just sending you we're no longer moving forward with you guys, best of luck. They don't know you anything else because at that moment in time, probably you lost this deal when you got kicked out of the bar. And then you sounded like you said some stuff that was offensive. You don't tell us what you said. Were you being racist? Were you criticizing a political party? Were you being misogynistic, anti-Semitic? We don't know. You don't say, But if you're getting kicked out of bars for being disruptive, I can only imagine where this went. Because to get kicked out of a bar in LA, in this part of town where you're at, you got to work pretty hard for that. Okay. This isn't like a quiet reserve area. It's the Strip. It's known for throwing down. The email continues. I've tried reaching out to apologize, not only to our rep, but also tried to reach out to the president of the firm several times since then. But I'm being completely ghosted by everyone. You're not being completely ghosted. They're done with you. They said, good luck, have a good life. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, and don't talk to us. He says, I'm getting no response to emails, calls, or nothing. Well, now you're acting like the lover who got dumped. That's what I mean. You're probably blowing them up because your band probably hates you at this moment, and rightfully so. So you're blowing them up, and now every time they see your name pop up or email, they're not even. They're probably not even. They're not even checking it. Years ago, I was in A&R, and the company I was with, we signed a rap group in, I'll just say, in the south of the U.S. And, they got a 65-page contract, very detailed. And with me telling them, get a lawyer to review this. And the way that we did signings, where we would do a signing event, we'd come to that town. It'd be a big deal because it's a big moment for artists. The next day, I had a FedEx. The band overnighted the contract and signed it. And I went into my boss and I said, we can't sign this band. And he's like, why not? I said, they sent the contract back. They didn't even read it. And he said, F them, sign the contract. And I was against it because I realized they were just, they were so eager to go. A couple of months later, they're in the studio making their album. And one night, myself, my boss, a couple of people in marketing, got an email from this band. Their grammar was atrocious. They couldn't spell. This is this was 2010, so spell check wasn't really as prominent on your phones as it was. Some letters would be in all caps, some wouldn't. It was just it was always the thing. It was like you would think a complete moron was writing these emails. And they sent this email to make it sound like they were trying to be legal to us. And they let us know that we were in breach of contract. And what were we in breach of contract for? Was it something to do with money? Was it something to do with publishing? Was it something to do with, we promised we were going to do this and we hadn't done it? No. They said we were in breach of contract because they weren't happy with the arrangement of the studio. And I remember seeing this email, and the minute, when you're dealing with a professional company, the minute you mention lawyers, lawsuits, breach of contracts, anything, typically we stop talking, and now we have to kick it over to legal. So because they thought that in the recording contract, because they hadn't read it, they thought in the recording contract that their personal happiness was important. They said that we were in breach of contract. The lawyers get involved. This band can't afford lawyers. I mean, they didn't have a lawyer read the recording contract. And they buried him. And the band, after they kind of came to their senses, reached out to me, and I couldn't talk to them because it was a legal situation now, but they were so apologetic, and we're sorry, and you only get one shot. Long story short with that one is I believe they're probably still under contract today, and they're shelved. The labels, they couldn't afford the money to buy out of their contract, and the label shelved them. And they're probably still shelved 15 years later. Ruined their careers because they sent an email, because they didn't understand what was going on. They didn't act like they belonged there when they got there. But the email continues. What I can't wrap my head around is, Why go through all of that if they never intended to work with us? They did intend to work with you. They did intend to sign you. You are about to have, once again, I know you sent the documents. I know who this firm is. They're game changers. They're career changers. They had intended to work with you. You decided to act like you've never had liquor before and you've never been outside of your house and drank too much and get kicked out of bars and start offending people with what you're saying. So they did intend to work with you. You decided to act like a fool. Happens a lot. He continues. They spent real money flying us out multiple times, booking us hotels, setting up meetings, and even a showcase. It's not like this was some scam or small-time thing. No, this was the real thing. This is what you've been working for. This is what you've been waiting for. He continues, if this was a respected company, why would they do this? Because you guys blew the opportunity. Because I'm going to tell you, the way you acted, they're going back and going, this band's a liability. You put them on tour, somebody's going to get arrested, someone's going to get dead, someone's going to hurt somebody else, and this is on us to deal with. It ain't worth it. There's a new band formed every day. One that's not going to get kicked out of a restaurant. One with the president of the management firm. He says it just doesn't make sense why they invest that much if they were going to back out over one bad night. Because they're cutting their losses. See, the first meeting is the handshake. Let's see if we like you. Let's see if you like us. Let's see if there's any red flags. It's like a first date. Second meeting, second date, they fly you out there. You guys are good. I guess nobody's drinking more than they should. No one's, offending people at the table. So they bring you back for a third. You do your showcase. You guys crush it. They take you out. And of course they were going to pour drinks down your throat. They were going to see, one, if you had enough respect for yourself and your party to stop drinking so you don't get to the point where you get kicked out of a bar. And you blew it. And your band should absolutely hate you. If I was your band, I would kick you out. I would kick you out today. And your lead singer. How do you kick a lead singer out? I'd kick you out today. I'd find another guitar player, and then I would, if I was in this band, I would email the management company and said, I'm so sorry what happened. We kicked him out. That's what I would do if I was your bandmates. And over one bad night? No. They're not looking at it as one bad night. They're looking at it as that if they put you out on the road, if they put you in a studio, you are a liability to not only yourself, but to them. He says, I've included our correspondence with the firm in case it helps you get a clearer picture. I looked at it, and this is all legit. This is a legit company. I know who your rep is. I worked with him in 2010 on an album. They're a great company too. He says, I'm just struggling to understand whether we blew it or if they were never serious to begin with. My guy, dude, you blew it. So this is your cope right here. No, they weren't really serious. They seemed kind of legit. I don't know. But we didn't, you blew it. Your band didn't blow it. You blew it. You blew it. You couldn't control your liquor. You're getting kicked out of bars like trash, absolute trash. You get brought out to LA. You act like you've never been there before. You probably haven't. You act like you've never been out in public before. And you're sitting with the CEO of the firm getting kicked out of her. Do you realize the CEO of that management firm? And guys, it's a big firm. Was sitting in this bar and that CEO got kicked out because of you? And you're wondering, what happened? I don't know what happened. He said, either way, it's been a gut punch for all of us, and I'd really appreciate any insight or advice you can give. I mean, the advice I'd give if I was your band, I'd kick you out today. You'd be gone. I don't care if you write the songs or not. You'd be gone. But you got the lead singer who's just as bad. I feel bad for the other guys in the band, the ones who probably controlled their liquor. The other ones who didn't offend. Because you screwed their career. You screwed their dream. And I'm telling you this, you have sent these guys emails and you're probably like, I don't know what happened. You guys seem legit. Like you're probably not even owning it because you're not really owning it here. You're like, well, maybe one bad night. No, it's a pattern. If you went on a first date with somebody and they got arrested or they started a fight in a bar, are you going to be like, oh, let me keep investing in this person? No, you're going to be like, they're a train wreck. I'm out of here. And, if you believe, Maya Angelou says, when someone shows you who you are, believe them the first time. You got kicked out of a bar in LA with the president of the firm on their dime. Your president of the firm got kicked out and you're going, I don't know what happened. One bad night. Dude, you ruined your band's dream. You ruined your band. I'm not saying you guys, you don't tell us how you got on their radar. You don't tell me what your numbers are. You don't tell me any of this stuff. Is there another possibility that another management firm will find you? Because here's what this management firm was going to do. They were going to develop you and market you to a label to get you a deal. Now, is there another firm out there who can do it? Yeah. I don't know how you got on these guys' radar, but I looked at the correspondence. It's all legit. All the names check out. The management company checks out. So you could find another firm. I don't know if you will. People usually don't get a lot of second chances with stuff like this. But as far as this firm is done, for you, you're done with them. And if I was your band, I'd kick you out today. And then I would email that firm and say we kicked him out. That's what I would do. Let this be a lesson to you guys that whatever notions, whatever you believe about partying like a rock star and you can do whatever you want because you've watched TMZ and you've seen an artist act like a fool and now that gives you leverage to act like a fool. Like, you haven't made these people a dime. Right now, they're spending money on you and you're getting the president of the management firm kicked out of a bar for being disruptive. I mean, the fact that weeks after this happened, you're still in this band and the band has not kicked you out, I don't know what's wrong with this band. Anyways, good luck. You're going to need it if this is how you act everywhere. But thanks for sending in the email. Hopefully this is a wake-up call. Have there not been enough stories of artists throughout the history of music who drank too much or did other substances and their lives were completely and utterly ruined? That you guys think that in 2025 you can act like this and you're going to be immune? It's crazy. But anyways, good luck. You keep acting like this, you're going to need it. And if you have a question on the music industry that you'd like for me to answer, go to MatthewRicks.com, click submit your question, give me as many details as possible. And until next time, I will talk to you later.